Welcome to the Black Gay History Channel. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel for more captivating content. While Googling for another topic about homosexuality in the colonial era, I stumbled upon this book with an intriguing cover, a book entitled Colonialism and Homosexuality by Robert Aldrich, published in 2002. The cover was intriguing because of the colonial era men in the book's illustrative painting, especially the young black man wearing a striking red turban with a red cape and a suit to match. And then when I realized the author likely chose this portrait because it fit the book's theme, I immediately tried to find out the story behind the painting of this young man, and hopefully I'll one day get to read this book because it likely has much more details than what I found so far. Surprisingly, I'd never used the Google Lens feature on Google until this painting came along, and to my surprise, it was very easy to use, and it immediately found the name of this painting. The name of this painting is entitled André Gide and His Friends at the Café Marais for the Exposition Universelle of 1900. Now, after looking into all of the names of the people posing in the picture, and the actual painter of the portrait themselves, it seems most everyone in this painting was gay or queer. The ringleader of this friend group is named French gay author André Gide, a Nobel Peace Prize winning author who is renowned for being a relatively open gay man during the same time period, who even ran in the same circles as famous gay British playwright Oscar Wilde. Unfortunately, one of his most prominent personal philosophies is that he was a pederast, and he believed that though there were many sodomites who lived in the world, meaning there were grown men who were attracted to other men, he was specifically a pederast, meaning he liked young men, even boys. And it complicates things that the age of consent in France and other European countries he frequented during that time. During that time's age of consent was as low as 13. Yikes. The others portrayed in the painting was Eugene Roert, a prominent gay but married farmer and politician. On the far left, French poet Charles Chorin, behind Eugene. Gay French playwright Henry Guion, on the far right with the bright red hair. André Gide himself in left and front in the black hat and cape. And in the center of the painting is Othman Ben Salah, a young poet from Tunisia who would keep a friendship and contact with André Gide and would even be sent money from Gide long distance for many years. So when we consider that nearly all of the men in the painting are gay and that this young man had close ties to André Gide for years, a guy who professed openly to like younger men, I think it's safe to say that Othman Ben Salah was in the gay club too. It's likely that the Book of Colonialism and Homosexuality has even more information on Gide and Salah's relationship. This painting, which has toured numerous European museums throughout the years, came with a description and details the artist's perception of the men in the painting, particularly Othman Salah. The description reads that the painter felt sorry for the quote-unquote young Arab poet who had been brought back as a sort of souvenir from a trip to Algeria. The brave poor black man wandered through literary circles like a trickster dog. His handlers would soon tire of this burden to drag them behind them. End quote. Now, while this perception of Salah's place in this friend group is subjective, many of us in the gay community know what a young, kept man looks like, and how even today, rich white gay men with affluence go to foreign countries and find a handsome young man to spoil and likely be intimate with. When I googled Othman Ben Salah's name, I did find that there were historic records, actual letters written from Othman Salah in Biskra, Algeria, to André Gide in France. And we must remember that Salah was also a poet, and it seems he wasn't just some boy toy. He was very much an affectionate part of André Gide's social circle, or at least he felt like it. One description of the letter from Algeria in 1895 gives insight into Salah's life long before the group of men sat for the painting. I also think it's telling that some of the letters found were written with heavy metaphors and are considered unintelligible to those trying to interpret them. The reason this stands out to me is because it was standard practice for gay people to write in code during these days in case their letters were found. The lengthy description of the first letter in 1895 reads, "In this moving letter of affection, Othman, the Algerian, doesn't concern himself with his style or grammar, completely ignoring them. He expresses his thoughts with a pen that Guédet, moreover, transcribed for the most part, facing the text in order to better understand it. To his Habibi, to his brother Guédet, repeated twice, he shares the emotion he felt upon learning of the death of Mrs. Guédet, his mother. Of her, he says he will remember all his life. But he doesn't dwell on this sadness and gives other news. We learn that he often goes to Ferdinand's, a school teacher ? In any case, he won an honorary prize. He was awarded a book, Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. However, he confesses to being in the throes of summer poverty. The heat is scorching. He recounts an accident in which a child was killed, the car running over him, crushing his entire stomach and heart. He urges Guédet to send his greetings to Monsieur Paul, to Pierre Laurens, and to Eugene Rort, whose portrait he had seen somewhere, a portrait in which he was magnificently handsome. These greetings are joined by those of his brother Sadek." End quote. His second letter to André Guédet came from Cairo, Egypt, in 1909, nearly 10 years after the painting in Paris. In this letter, he details financial trouble, which makes me wonder if André Guédet was still financially supporting him throughout the years. The description of the second letter reads, his letter, which begins by meticulously recounting the terror he felt when the grotesque error of a Jewish banker led him to believe that he no longer had the funds from the pension presumably paid by Guédet, an error since rectified, is devoted almost entirely to the charms of a Russian woman, Madame de Tchelitchev, with whom he has fallen madly in love and whom he wishes to see become friends with Guédet. He solicits Guédet's attention, even his intervention, now that his beloved is in Paris, and he does so in delightful terms. The result is pages impossible to quote, so florid is the style, employing a barrage of alliteration and metaphors. End quote. Though Athman discusses a romantic attraction to a Russian woman in Cairo, we all know that many gay men of the past, and even today, still became married to and connected to women despite having relationships with men. Even some of the men in the Paris painting were married and gay, particularly the French politician Eugene Rort. And the fact that the end of the second letter in 1909 is so hard to interpret definitely makes me wonder if Salah was communicating in gay code that we have yet to decipher. Even if somehow Athman Ben Salah wasn't gay or queer himself, and just hung out with some of the most prominent and affluent gay artists in France during that time, he was still a part of the circle of gay men's friend groups for at least 15 years. I hope that book, Homosexuality and Colonialism, has even more details about Athman Ben Salah, because it's likely that he's a gay historic African icon that's legacy lives on through this painting from 1900.